Okay? They cheat. They have no shame. They cheat. Do you understand that, you crooked people? They're the most crooked. They cheat. They cheated in the last election, and they're going to cheat in this election, but we're going to get them.
Now, it's time for Stuck in the Middle radio show with Alan Edwards.
So the swollen, bloated, sweaty orange Cheeto is at it again, right on schedule. I called this a while back. I mean, who couldn't call it? I knew when the polls were going to start getting closer, and in some cases, in key states, Kamala was going to start passing, that Donald Trump was going to start yelling, fake, rigged, full of lies, the election is rigged, blah, 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 the same thing he does over and over again. It's directly from the dictator playbook. He did it in 2016, he did it in 2020, now he's doing it again. This is the only way he can try to get some kind of savior to his criminal career, if you will. So he's doing it again at his hate rallies. He's yelling out rigged, fake, full of lies. The problem is he's able to say this because of his cult members, because this is part two of it's part one of the dictator playbook, is you got to get the uninformed and the poorly educated. Now, I'm not saying that as an insult, because he calls MAGA that himself. I love the poorly educated. He has said that several times, because that's in the dictator playbook. Get people that are uninformed, poorly educated, and you can say whatever you want. And it's obvious. Go to one of his rallies. Listen to one of his rallies on TV. He says whatever he wants, the lies that spew out of that orange hole below the nose, and he gets away with it. So then when he starts chanting over and over again to get it in the minds of the MAGA, he says fake, rigged, full of lies for the election, because then they say, you know what, it is. He did it in 2016. And as a matter of fact, in 2016, he did it even before he was even close to the election. He started yelling that out. In 2020, he did it right away because he knew he was going to lose. So he started saying fake, rigged lies. And then he got his MAGA morons all riled up. And we all know what happened. Don't need to repeat it. And now he's doing it again. The difference between this year is that he was leading, and by some pretty big points, when Biden was running. So he was pretty quiet about it. Because when he's leading, and he's leading in the polls, oh, it's the most beautiful election ever. But then when it starts getting close, he starts riling up the radical troop.
Protecting democracy remains a central issue in the 2024 campaign. Two leading voices are warning about the threat of authoritarianism and what the U.S. can do to protect its freedom. Retired federal judge J. Michael Luttig and former Secretary of Homeland Security Jay Johnson are sounding that alarm. They both join me now. I appreciate your time. The decision, Judge Luttig, to do this with a bipartisan group of lawyers, can you explain the threat you see here?
Phil, thank you very much. And Secretary Johnson joins me in thanking you and CNN for your interest in the Democracy Summit here in Chicago and for joining us this afternoon. For reasons that we all know, Phil, American democracy and the rule of law are the issues of our time. And today, the American Bar Association and the nation's 1.3 million lawyers are rising to the moment, and they are answering the call to defend and support America's democracy and the rule of the law in this moment, especially between now and the election in November. American lawyers are uniquely qualified, and they are uniquely obligated to support and defend America's democracy and the rule of law, and they are answering that call from the country to do that today. Our founding fathers feared this very moment in American history when the nation would be swaddled in demagoguery, and it would lead to Americans' abandonment of democracy itself and the rule of law. And that's why I believe that The election coming up in November is a test of Americans' commitment to American democracy and the rule of law.
And when he was leading, that's when he picked J.D. Vance. I mean, that was a pretty ridiculous move, but he was so cocky and bold that he thought, hey, I'm going to win. So I'm going to pick somebody as loyal as I could possibly can. Somebody that's going to listen to me and say, yes, sir, on every decision I make. And that is the beautiful J.D. Vance. Well, that turned out to be a big mistake because the polls are changing and J.D. Vance is bringing that party down. And I got to make a prediction right now at the time of this video, they're going to get rid of him. I would be shocked if they keep J.D. Vance. The only way they can get rid of him, from what I understand, if he has a medical issue or, from what I understand, don't quote me, if he steps down himself saying he's unable to do it. So they're going to get him in a room, say, step down. You want to do it for the MAGA? Step down. But anyways, that's going to be a whole different thing because I don't think he's very happy with them. But with all that cockiness he had when he was leading in the polls, he was pretty quiet about the fake rigged election because it was the most beautiful election ever. He always says, if I win, it was a perfect election. If I lose, it was a fake election. And the MAGA cult members scream and yell, yeah, that's right, Mr. Dictator Leader. So it's happening again. Fake rigged lies. He's doing it at every rally again. He's going to rile them up all over again. We're going to deal through this disaster again. I don't understand why the Republican Party continue to support and back this man year after year, election after election. He lost the 2016 popular vote. Millions of Americans did not want that man as president in 2016. He won the ancient electoral vote. That's how he got in. He lost in 2020, both the electoral and the popular vote. He lost in 2022 when the red wave was supposed to come. He blew that for the Republicans by endorsing a bunch of these candidates, and they pretty much all lost. And now the situation in 2024 is Kamala Harris is bringing up the numbers. She's getting very close. He's panicking and yelling fake rigged lies. We're going to deal with this again. So as we move forward, as we get closer to the election, it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a mess. So buckle up, people. It's going to be a pretty ding-dang bumpy orange ride.